One of the first things that people ask me when I tell them I did 12 years in prison is if I feel institutionalized. Do I think I'm institutionalized? And no, I don't, but I can't tell you for sure that I've, purged every bit of prison outside of my psyche because, a fish doesn't know it's in water. However, I do want to introduce this concept to you and just give you something to think about. When people hear the term institutionalized, they automatically, they think of prison when they hear institutionalized. However, if you look at the definition of institutionalized, the first part of it reads established as a norm in an organization or a culture. An organization or a culture. And something that's fascinating to think about is the wonder, are you institutionalized? Maybe you never did a day in jail, never did a decade in prison, but have you been programmed to the norms of society? Without a doubt, you have. Now, why is this interesting to think about? It's because when people hear the term institutionalized, once again, they associate it with prison and not being able to cope with freedom, so they return back to what they know because that's most comfortable. However, if we look at it in the grand scheme and look at culture as a thing that's, programming people, you may realize that you have been led to believe some things that don't truly serve you in the best type of way. I can't tell you exactly what this is, but some general ones are, the lack of belief in oneself, the belief that you have to be an evil, twisted person to be massively successful, the fact that you have to sell your soul for riches, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like, we have been conditioned as a society to think that only few can make it and they have to be special or better than us. And the few that don't believe this, they rise to massive success and they're praised by the masses and everybody thinks that it was luck, chance, or, they've been destined by God to be something amazing. I feel like this is a thought process that I just refuse to subscribe to it. But part of the benefit of being in prison, and yes, I said benefit, is I was separated from society. And because I went in at such a young age, at 17, I was in a bubble and I'm not saying I wasn't programmed by society because I definitely was. But as I grew into a man, I had more control over my programming due to a fact that we didn't have phones, access to like outside media is very limited relative to what they have on the streets. And I picked what I was going to program by books, podcasts, specific type of music. I'm suggesting that maybe you take a step back and analyze your thoughts, your beliefs. You can't spell believe without lies, man. Or lie. You can't spell believe without lie.